Welcome to this segment of Citizens Forum being recorded June 1st, 2021. We have with us today a guest who's representative of, I guess you could say, a new technology, a new career that is becoming more and more important in the system. And well, frankly, I think people, especially when it comes to getting a home inspector in to buy a house, they also should be paying attention to his particular field of expertise. Our guest today is Jason Masek, a building biologist, and I'll let you take it from there, Jason.
Yeah, Norm, hi, nice to see you. Yes, you are correct. Having your home inspected before buying by a building biology consultant is a great idea to add to your decision making. Building biology, what it is it's a study of the relationship of people and their new constructed environment. So that means checking out materials, indoor air pollutants, and the big one is electromagnetic fields. All of these things can cause a lot of sensitivities and health issues inside the home. So what I do is I go in and I inspect for electromagnetic fields. I take a look around. If I'm working in conjunction with a home inspector, I'll let him take care of sort of the moisture issues and mold issues that may arise. But I do have specialized air quality equipment that lets me pick up some things. So working in tandem with a full home inspector is quite beneficial when you're looking at purchasing property.
Well, I guess you could almost say that the building inspector looks at the visual things that can be seen and you can see it, whereas, well, unless the air quality is really bad, you can't see that air quality.
Yeah, that's right. With electromagnetic fields, of course, we look at a lot of electricity, so things that wiring errors, dirty electricity. I use an oscilloscope. I pick up dirty electricity also with another equipment through potential free measurements. We look at high frequency radiation stuff. People are concerned about 5G now. The new Wi-Fi 6 system that's out, really high-powered wireless systems are now inside the home, and we're really got to be really careful of their proximity to us.
Yes, actually, from my looking at it, not just the proximity, but when you get it in closer to you, there's even worse spikes of radiation in one area, and it changes around, referred to as a near field, which actually that's what caused a exposure in that range, what caused a brain tumor for me, and I really don't recommend people do that.
Yeah, that near field is really chaotic.
Yeah. I think one person called it spectacular peaks and valleys. And,
yeah.
Well, when you get zapped, it's not spectacular, I can assure you.
No, not good for us.
But if somebody wanted to engage a building inspector, I know you have or not you, but the Building Biology Institute has a web page, and I'll just bring that up. It also gives a lot more information.
Yeah, that's the one. And in there, you'll find there's an expert tab. So you'll find there's not very many of us, unfortunately, but there's more coming every year. And you'll find our locations on a map.
Expert at the top of the page there. Well, I encourage people to go through the whole page and see what's going on, that if you click Find an Expert and zero in on, there's several Find an Expert topics, I guess you could say, that you zero in on a couple of these, we find you, and you've got your own website on about it as well.
Yeah, my website's benchmark with a hyphen environmental.com.
Does that page look familiar?
That's me. Yeah. And so on there's a lot of excellent resources. You'll learn about me, how to get a hold of me. Also, the equipment that I use on my jobs are in there. Happy to help. Always happy to chat. I love this stuff. It keeps me interested.
Equipment you have, I've got a safe and sound to meter that, yeah, I think that's a good meter, but that's limited. You look at issues outside of what that one's designed to read.
That's right. So the Safe and Sound Pro 2 is an excellent meter. I love it. I have one. And it just measures high frequency. So it gives you a really good idea, and it has enough of a level of accuracy to tell you where the danger zones are, and it's really easy to understand. Where EMF gets squirrely is in the electrical world. You can get meters for magnetic fields, for electric fields, and you can have meters for what's called dirty electricity. And the definition of dirty electricity is a moving target as well. So those three things is where the building biology consultant comes in handy, and they give you really good context on the high frequency stuff as the low frequency, and they're also in your home, even looking out for problem areas when it comes to air quality and materials that you use.
Now, you mentioned that the meter I have measures high frequency, but we're coming into, I guess it's later this month, they're going to auction off we'll call them ultra high or millimeter wave part of 5G. Is there much equipment on the market that can measure that, or is that just sort of, if it's bad down lower, to see what's bad up there too?
Yeah, so that high frequency stuff is a high powered, almost like a laser. There will be equipment out to measure it. Right now, the professional grade equipment is in the tens of thousands of dollars. So it's a little bit out of reach for my business. But they will come down, just like how the RF meters have come down in price just over the last 3 or 4 years. So it'll take probably 5 years into 5G. But the interesting thing about the millimeter wave is it won't be turned on unless you have a 5G device. You have to be around someone who has 5G technology, like a car or a phone, and then the millimeter wave will turn on for that person. But if you're in a sort of a non-urban area, and yes, they'll have the mini 5G little cells around, but that millimeter wave will not turn on simply because it takes too much power. What we have learned in the cities that are fully 5G implemented, that in fact they have to turn off the 5G cells at night because the quantity of electricity used is too high.
Well, that's encouraging. Yeah, as I understand the whole radiation bit, that it's particularly important to reduce the amount of radiation in the area where you're sleeping. So if you don't have the 5G, that's a real bonus then.
Yeah. Yeah, and also 5G won't be able to penetrate buildings, which is why they've designed the Wi-Fi 6 mesh network they are installing in people's homes now, which is like having a cell tower inside your house.
Well, speaking of inside your house, you did mention routers are an issue, and of course we all know cell phones are. In that category, I assume you'd include things like cordless phones, baby monitors, and the laptop itself.
Yeah. I don't think they call them laptops anymore either from the marketing term, because you're not supposed to have them on your lap. The proximity of wireless technology is measured for health and safety about half an inch away from the body. So anytime you have a wireless device that is right against your skin, you are exceeding FCC health standards by doing that. So with cordless phones and baby monitors, yeah, there's many different types. Some of them are higher radiation than others. Just avoid using them if you can. And ideally, we just run Ethernet through our home and we just hardwire everything to our devices. There's lots of great adapters out there that you can use.
Now, you mentioned the FCC, which is the U.S. standards, that there's a comparable Canadian standard.
Yes.
Comparable Canadian standard that, well, say every bit as poor as the FCC.
Yeah, that's safety code 6.
Yeah. Well, one thing I find interesting with Safety Code 6, it's not a standard as people say, it's a guideline, yet industry still keeps saying that it's within Safety Code 6. Well, there is basically no standard in Canada or limits to the amount of radiation legally they can radiate on a person.
Yeah, it's just a guideline. Canada just takes what the international governing body, which is a captured agency called ICNIRP. They just take whatever they say for Canada.
Yeah, it just keeps bringing flashbacks to the memory of getting zapped with the radiation. I've been told that it wasn't enough to cause a problem. Well, I could feel heating on the side of my face, but apparently, even though the standards say heating is bad, that doesn't count when it comes to making a injury claim.
Yeah.
Which basically they just don't, none of the industry or government agencies seem to want to accept that radiation is a problem. They've got to start looking at it closely.
Yeah, the struggle is that it's, I believe, a $3 trillion industry. So, it's a tough hill to climb. If you push hard enough, there's been lots of successful court cases around the world. In the news, there's maybe 2 or 3 in Italy where employees have successfully sued telecom for a cancer such as yours.
Unfortunately, you don't see much of it in the news. I've seen them as well, and I haven't heard of anyone in Canada at all to speak of.
Yeah, it just gets, of course, yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to have a media take, legitimate science and information into account when there's really no government guidelines, anything really to go by.
Well, that's why I brought you on in particular, to get the word out to as much as I can that we do have people that watch us, so hopefully someone else will realize there's a problem.
Yeah, it'll take time.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's going to take time for all this to come out. I use wireless technology. I like it. It's handy. It's a tool, and it can be used safely. You can make a lot of adjustments to it. So we're going to get there, and there's people working on that. I believe there's even this safe use cell phone that's being built in Norway, I think. We're still at grassroots level with this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see we're coming up close to the end of our time here, so I think we'll have to sign off and
no problem.
People to, if they want to watch this again, that they have that at the bottom there. If you go to our recent shows, they can see that again as well, other shows. And I'd like to thank everyone for watching this segment of Citizens Forum, and especially thank our guests for being willing to speak about the very important issue.
Have a great day.
Okay, thank you.